I'm Troy Campbell, a clinical research educator and research scientist. This lecture series is built on a simple belief. Patients don't just bring symptoms, they bring stories. In pediatrics, those stories are often told through behavior, emotion, and metaphor rather than word. Narrative medicine invites us to listen for meaning, not just diagnosis, and to understand how children experience illness. In this lecture, we'll explore what narrative medicine is, why it matters, and how it can transform pediatric care. A 7-year-old boy is brought into the clinic with a familiar complaint, chronic abdominal pain. His lab work comes back normal. The imaging shows nothing concerning. Still, he returns week after week, his pain unresolved, his story unfinished. One day, the clinician tries something different. Instead of asking, "Where does it hurt?" they ask, "Can you tell me what your pain feels like?" The boy hesitates. Then he answers softly, "It feels like a tight knot, like when my parents yell." In that moment, something shifts. The diagnosis hasn't changed. The test results are the same. But the story has emerged, and with it, a deeper understanding of the illness. You see, patients don't just present symptoms, they bring stories, and when we fail to hear those stories, we risk missing the illness entirely. In this case, the data stayed the same, but the meaning changed. And because the story changed, the care did too. Rita Charan describes narrative medicine as the practice of truly noticing stories of illness, listening closely, taking them in, interpreting their meaning, and allowing ourselves to be changed by them. At its core, medicine speaks two languages. One is precise and measurable, lab values, scans, vital signs, numbers that track the body's function. This language helps clinicians diagnose, predict, and treat. The other is human and lived. Fear in the waiting room, the struggle to make sense of a diagnosis, the way illness reshapes identity and meaning. This language is carried in stories. Narrative medicine is where these two languages meet. It creates space for science and story to inform one another, allowing care to be both clinically sound and deeply humane. In medicine, we often talk about disease as if it tells the whole story. Disease is a biological it is objective, measurable, something we can see on a scan, track in a lab value, name with a diagnosis. But illness is something different. Illness is the lived experience of that disease. It is subjective, shaped by meaning, fear, family, culture, and context. This is why two children can sit in the same clinic, carry the same diagnosis, and yet live in entirely different worlds. One child may feel frightened, withdrawn, unsure of what their body is doing to them. Another may feel resilient, supported, even hopeful, despite identical test results. Two children can have the same disease and completely different illnesses. Narrative medicine asks us to pay attention to that difference because while disease may guide our treatment plans, it is illness that tells us how care is actually received, understood, and lived. And if we only treat the disease without listening for the illness, we risk healing the body while leaving the child unheard. To practice narrative medicine, clinicians develop what Rita Charan calls narrative competence, the ability to recognize, absorb, and work with patients' stories. This competence rests on three essential practices. The first is attention. This means deep, intentional listening, being fully present without interrupting, correcting, or rushing to conclusions. It requires setting aside the checklist long enough to hear not just what is said, but how it is said and what might be lingering beneath the words. The second is representation. Here, we reflect the story back through writing, retelling, or thoughtful summary. In doing so, we test our understanding and signal to patients that their story has been heard. Representation turns experience into shared meaning, allowing both clinician and patient to see the narrative more clearly. The third is affiliation. This is where connection forms. When patients feel seen and understood, trust follows. Affiliation transforms the clinical encounter from a transaction into a relationship, one in which healing becomes possible even when a cure is not. Together, attention, representation, and affiliation allow medicine to move beyond treating bodies alone and toward caring for people in the fullness of their stories. When we focus on pediatrics, listening becomes even more important because children often don't yet have the language for what they're feeling. They rarely say, "I feel anxious," or "I'm overwhelmed." Instead, they say, "My tummy hurts," or "There's a monster inside me." These are not distractions from the clinical story. They are the clinical story. Children speak in metaphor because metaphor is the language they have. Their bodies, behaviors, and imaginations become vessels for emotions they don't yet know how to name. Narrative medicine teaches us to take these expressions seriously, not as vague complaints to be ruled out, but as narratives asking to be understood. When we learn to hear how children tell their stories, we gain access to truths that no lab value or imaging study can reveal. At Storyhaven, we try to bring this way of listening into everyday practice, to use story as preparation, protection, and care. Consider a common moment in pediatrics. A child refuses an MRI. The chart may quickly label them non-compliant. But narrative medicine invites us to pause and reframe. What if the MRI is not just a machine, but a tunnel of deafening noise, isolation, and loss of control? What if the child isn't refusing care, but responding to fear in the only way they know how? When we shift the story, the child shifts too. Narrative medicine asks a different question. Not how do we make the child cooperate, but what story is this child living in right now? Because when we understand the story, we can change the setting, the language, the preparation, and sometimes the outcome. And in doing so, we move from managing behavior to meeting humanity. Why does this matter? Because the evidence is clear. Research shows that narrative approaches improve patient satisfaction, increase treatment adherence, and strengthen clinician empathy. Just as importantly, they help reduce burnout by restoring meaning and connection to clinical work. Listening well doesn't just benefit patients, it sustains those who care for them. Reflect on this. When was the last time you truly listened to a patient's story? What might you have missed? Remember, behind every chart, there is a story. As we close, we invite you to carry this way of listening with you into clinics, classrooms, and conversations. At the Storyhaven, we work to integrate narrative medicine into practice, helping children and families feel seen, heard, and understood. Your support allows us to create resources, programs, and spaces where stories can prepare, protect, and heal. If this work resonates with you, we invite you to learn more, get involved, and support our mission. Visit us at thestoryhaven.org.